All right, we're back looking at activity 6. This is going to be the introduction to the voltmeter, a tool that we'll use to help us understand the voltages across resistors. And let me give a rundown to some of our supplies real quick. We have a DC power supply that'll be providing our power source today. My batteries are getting a little more rundown, and I'm not sure that they're up to the task. So we'll just pump out the voltage here with the power supply. Um, Over here, I've got a multimeter, which is digital, and it's got several categories on it being a multimeter, but this orange is going to be the volts in DC, and we have resistance in green, capacitance in blue, and amperage in red. And for this lab, we're most interested in volts DC, so my setting is set for 20. And since we'll be working in the 3 volts range, that setting will do just fine. Over here we have our series circuit set up with 2 long bulbs, and it's already running, so we're good to go. Part A of this lab asks us to look at the voltage across 2 different lamps. And I have my multimeter already set up and ready to go, so let's just measure the voltage. We'll place probe number 1 on this side of the lamp, and we'll place our probe that way. We measure the voltage across both lamps, and it comes up to be about 3 volts. And since our power source is 3 volts, we're happy with that result, that both bulbs equal 3 volts. In part B, they just want to make sure that the voltage across our battery is measured. So we'll just put our probes right up to the outputs off of the DC power supply, and it is measuring 3 volts. Okay. All right. Part C is asking us to break this down per lamp. So let's measure the voltage across just one lamp. We'll first put our probe here, and our second probe will go here. And you can see that we're measuring about 1.5 volts across one lamp. So the answer to this diagram here, part C, will be 1.5 volts. In part D down here, it wants us to measure the second lamp, so we'll do that as well. And we'll put our probe here and across, and again we measure 1.5 volts. Okay, so let's take a look at what that really means overall. This diagram here. Right, so our measurement across the voltage source was 3 volts. We'll fill that one in over there. And across lamp number 1 was 1.5 volts, and across lamp number 2 was 1.5 volts. Right? And the voltage across both lamps was equal to 3 volts. All right, well, that's not hard to understand, because if we just draw a line from this X all the way to this X, then you can see that these two, there's nothing in between, so they should read the same voltage. And of course, if we add these two together, we should get 3 volts. So the whole line across is all 3 volts. Right. Now, let's switch out the long bulb. Switch out the long bulb for a short bulb. And we'll do the same thing. We'll see where things are with short bulb. Right. Right. Again, let's measure and make sure. So here, we still have 3 volts coming off of our power supply. This time we'll use green. So 3 volts off of the power supply. Across the long bulb, we'll do that one first. Across the long bulb, it's going to be 3 volts. Just a tad bit under 3 volts, but 3 volts on the long bulb. So 3 volts here. And now across the short bulb, we have about 0.07 volts. 0.07 volts. Okay. And across both of them, so we'll go black here and red here, and we have 3 volts. So both of these together, we have 3 volts. Okay, so there is the situation with the black representing the 2 long bulbs and the green representing the long bulb, short bulb. And the big difference here is with the round bulb, we see 0 volts. With the long bulb, we see 3 volts, but with the round bulb, we see 0 volts. Okay. Okay, let's set up a different situation. This is going to be a parallel, and so we're just going to have to do a little bit of rearranging here. We're going to have this bulb here come back here, and we're going to have another wire. We have this come from power source to here. Okay, we are set up in parallel this time, and let's look at our voltage sources again. So, right, we are reading about, oops, switch these to parallel. Now we'll be looking at this, and we are at 3 volts. So we have 3 volts in this situation. So we'll write 3 volts across the battery, and over here we will read lamp number 1, which will be 2.8 volts. 2.8 volts. And over here, we will read lamp number 2, 2.9 volts. Right. Now we'll read the voltage. That's all they want us to do for this. Let's just look at the voltages across both of them. So we see the same voltage here and across the battery in the parallel circuit. Okay, finally, our last activity is to actually hook the voltmeter in line with one of the lamps. So let's rearrange this real quick. Take this completely off. So we'll go here, we'll hook the voltmeter here, the voltmeter here, and now we can see that we're reading 3 volts across the or through the voltmeters. This is reading 3 volts. Okay, and that's it. I do not have a second voltmeter to check the voltage across here, but we're not lit. So there's an indication right there that we don't have a voltage going across, but it would have been nice to have my second voltmeter show that. And if you look up here, you can see the power supply is producing 3 volts, so we do have voltmeter at the battery source there. But across both of these, from here to here, we can suspect that there's 3 volts there as well. Okay, that should wrap up this first video.